Two.
Hey, it's this guy again. Where have I been? Woo! I'm not dead, so that's good. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Geek Bros Talk. It's probably been a while since you've seen one of these, but we're back and we're trying to get back on track now. Life has been a little bit crazy, but in a good way. So yeah, let's just jump back into it. I mean, I don't think you guys see the introduction. You don't remember who I am. I'm man, what was my name?
Possibilities.
Yeah, possibilities. That was my name. I go by multiple aliases, so don't mind me if I forget my name at some point. But yeah, TSN possibilities, aka Holla Holla Get Dollar, aka Senor Ding Dong. Ton of names out there, and this is the co-host. Well, owner of the show, whatever. He's the main guy. It's a C64. It's Commodore 64,
C64.
and we're back. Ooh, you may notice we're in a new environment. I think both of us actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, so you gotta do sometimes. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start this one off pretty hot. Speaking of hot things, there's something really hot. Hot. Marvel Studios Avengers Infinity War official trailer by the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel at 51 million views. That was just uploaded 1 day ago. So that's 51 million views in what span of 24 hours or something like
Yes.
that.
And my brother has not seen
I
it.
have not seen it. I've only
Yes.
seen some numbers thrown around as like, oh, it broke 45 million in 1 day, which is like the fastest for a movie trailer that's happened, right? Who keeps up with these stats anyways? Who knows if that's like, oh yeah,
Marvel
that's the
does.
fastest. Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be honest, that probably is really good in like their campaign, right? Because they can also claim, oh yeah,
Exactly.
it's also like the hottest movie. So I take that back. That was a dumb question. Anyways, I'm gonna watch it. I've not seen it. Oh, and actually, I'll just let you know my thoughts. All right, watching it. I'm watching it.
Yeah. So this is his real time reaction. He is not seeing this yet.
Space. Okay. Uh-huh. I know some of these characters.
And I haven't told my brother anything about this, so he is like brand new to it.
Okay. She looks like that one girl from Wolfenstein 2. Ooh, look at all these characters. But it's like these all these trailers, they have like the boom boom, like that really deep
Yeah.
drum hit.
I
Boom
think it's like that's a
boom.
huge trend, and I think whenever Inception came out, they went even
Yeah.
further with
It is
that.
one of the first ones to do, yeah. It's just so played out now.
Yeah, it is. Everything has it, even like commercials. I'm like, oh. So it's about like a 2 minute long trailer. So, and if any of you have watched the Avengers trailer
Yeah.
reactions, people have pretty much gone crazy over it
Okay.
universally.
Ton of different characters, pretty good looking
Hmm.
CGI. Looks like just an all-out war.
Yeah, it looks like Civil
Yeah.
War, just much bigger.
Yeah.
So just a
Collecting some
real note
rocks.
for people who don't know or have first time watching this, we're actually brothers, and both of me and my brother and our other brother we're geeks, so we love similar things, but we love watching movies. But the one thing is, both me and my brother we're kind of like burnt out on comic book movies, and so that's more than the reason why that my brother hasn't seen the trailer. I didn't even know the trailer came out until I saw it yesterday. And so, yeah, I mean, like, for the majority, I still haven't even seen Doctor Strange and stuff. So, Avengers, I'm definitely going to watch, but, I'm not really super hyped up most of the times.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of jaded and cynical. I mean, trailer's over now, but all right, May
Oh,
20,
what are your thoughts?
May 4th. Um, I mean, same, I guess. I don't feel any different. I mean, it kind of everything I expected.
Hmm.
I mean, as far as like visual CGI goes, it looks really cool. all these characters in the same movie. Um, I don't know, stuff like that doesn't get me too hype. I guess I don't know, for whatever reason. I'm like, yeah, I like most of these characters, but to me, a lot of the stereotypical like character archetypes is it's the same, right? Like like to me, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these movies they go through the same. Oh man, I was in this low place, now I'm in this high place, and like, oh, am I gonna win? Of course I'm gonna win. Like
Yeah.
it follows the very same narrative almost for every movie. So yeah, it's cool like that, but to me, the characters all go through the same things. So
Yeah.
if there was more variety, I mean, and maybe that's why I feel like the comic books and cartoon series, they really get to delve into the characters more, right? And they actually
Mm-hmm.
stand out. Are more distinct to me. Um, but whenever I look at like a comic book hero or comic book movie hero,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same. Like, they're the same person. But I think you should look at a different medium or format.
Yeah.
It does differ enough for me to be like, oh, this character is actually way different from this character. They have different motivations. And we talked about this a lot in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
just general safeness of movie scripts.
Yes.
I mean, Disney is just they're just churning stuff out.
And they're making tons of money.
Yeah, it's not a bad plan, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like financially speaking, no. I mean, you look the same for Star Wars, Marvel stuff. I mean,
Yes.
uh, you sprinkle just superhero movies throughout the year. You save Star Wars for the end of the year. They have it on lock. It's very
They do.
formulaic, but it
It
works.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, it works. It doesn't hit all the right buttons for me, but I can definitely.
Was there anything in the trailer that that stood out for you, or was it mostly like another Avengers
It's
trailer?
just like another Avengers trailer, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, it looked okay. Am I gonna watch it? Maybe. I mean, if I want the
Yeah.
right people and we just happen to want to go watch a movie, yeah. Am I
But
super?
you're not going to be having a tent out for weeks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tent out. I'm not gonna be like really hyped going into it. I don't know. That's just not me. It's not like that kind of movie for me. Um, yeah. Other than that, not surprised. Basically.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, I thought it was a good trailer, and but for me, it just feels like another Avengers movie, and it does follow the same stuff. The whole planet is in danger again, um,
Again.
again.
Yeah, Rick and Morty did a really good episode on this actually in season 3. I don't know if you watch Rick and Morty, but they
No.
basically they make fun of like the summer blockbuster superhero movie. So it's a good episode. Check that one out.
Yeah. So overall, both of us agree that it's like a good trailer, but it's not like
Yeah, like what was like the last like just bad Marvel movie, or not bad, but like not well received Marvel
good.
movie?
Oh,
I'm trying to
hmm,
think because um
like an actual movie, but not like
yeah,
TV show.
yeah, movie that wasn't like super well received. Like maybe Ant-Man was kind of under the radar a little bit. I
No, it
mean,
did pretty well.
I'm
I
talking
can't.
about like one that people would complain about, like, oh, that movie was just not good.
Oh, I don't
Thor,
know. I
Thor
mean,
2, maybe.
maybe the most I could say, like maybe it's kind of like it wasn't that exciting or it
Mhm.
wasn't offer
Yeah,
anything fresh.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
Guardians of Galaxy 2. I mean, none of it's bad, you know?
Yeah, it was. That's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's
But
kind of hard.
oh, has there been one that people have been pretty vocal about? That like, man, the movie was just like not that great.
Oh, that's
A Marvel
that's
movie, yeah, yeah,
oh,
Marvel
I
that
don't
people just
know.
like was not that good.
No. I mean, about the only ones that they really hated, but it really wasn't in the theaters was the Inhumans. That
Mm,
got horrible, horrible reviews and
yeah,
ratings,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it wasn't in the theater, so I don't think that counts.
Okay.
I, I think what you said is 1,000% correct. They
Hmm.
know the formula,
Yeah, yeah,
and if you just look at the recent Justice League versus what Marvel did, it's night and day. Marvel knows what they're doing,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
And like, it is formulaic, but they had to
Hmm.
tune. You had to have a lot of I don't know, just to be able to tune it the way they've tuned it, like
Hmm.
almost since the beginning. I mean, even when they first started, they didn't have that many missteps, which is,
That's true.
it's hard to say for like any for any process really. It's like they got
Yep,
it pretty much started hitting it on the
they do.
nail like out the gate.
Yep. And if you think about it, the first Iron Man came out about 10 years ago.
Hmm.
And so if you think about all the movies they released since then, that's
Hmm.
pretty amazing if you think about that track record for them not to have like really horrible movies that just bomb,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So wow. hats off.
But, I
You know.
mean, then that's what I'm saying. Like when you compare it to DC, DC has so many missteps and just like so many
Yep.
movies that just weren't well made. Not even just as like a comic book property, but just as a movie itself, right? So,
Yes. And you know, I didn't. I really still don't even want to watch Justice League.
hmm
You know, I mean, if it was on Netflix or something, I would. That's kind of sad. You know, I mean,
hmm
it's Justice League, but I wasn't. I did like the trailer, but as it got closer and closer, I'm like, you
yeah,
know,
and
even though, yeah, I don't know.
it's also pretty interesting to see in like a marketplace dynamic, right? I mean, there's still room for comic book movies, I guess. I mean, yeah, DC is like getting dwarfed by Marvel, but I mean,
Yep.
they still have a little bit of foothold in it. It's I mean, you look at other industries kind of similar to maybe like AMD, Nvidia, right? Where Nvidia has
Yes.
like highest market share, but AMD can still squeak by, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's just pretty interesting to see from like a context of like uh, even down to like IPs, right, in movies. So that's pretty cool to think about. It's like you got this giant, and like how do you go against it? You know, like how do you even start like gaining traction against that?
Yeah. It's definitely a challenging thing, and you know, right now, since Disney's so smart, they bought so many properties. You know, it's kind of like insane to think about. You know, who else can compete with them?
Right, right. I
You
mean,
know.
uh, and just in general, have you ever, or do you recollect any businesses or industries where like the underdog started to come up in recent
Under.
memory, I guess? Because like I'm
Oh
trying, not too much,
no, I can't
maybe,
really think of any. I don't know.
yeah. Where
And
it's just like the industry just turns, right? You know, like some years like they'll do really well, but in some other years another company is going to come by, and like I can kind of see that in the video games industry a little bit in terms of like
mm-hmm.
console manufacturers, right? Like Xbox, I would say 360 is probably hotter than PS3 for the most part. Like, and then PS4 kind of came around, and Xbox One wasn't doing as well, right? And then like Nintendo's just kind of in the background, and Nintendo is doing like really, really well, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
there's
at
a
least there's like a
constant.
back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
what I'm trying
know.
to say. It's like what other industries or companies were there's like a lot of back and forth
Yeah,
between the years. I mean, with the way
I don't
Marvel and
know.
DC is going, I'm not sure if DC can put up.
No, and I
Uh,
think it's because the world has changed. A lot of things are big conglomerates now,
yeah.
and so they own a lot of their competitors now, and so
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to see that back and forth. You know, especially in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Most of these most of these movie production companies you think are independent, they're actually part of a bigger,
Mhm.
the bigger company. So yeah, that's kind of sucks.
And
It's
maybe just
a
like
lot
the
of ways.
nature of it too, because like when you think about the movie industry, it's gonna have a lot fewer but bigger products versus video games, which is gonna have a lot. I mean, due to all the different games and different developers and publishers, you have a lot like more what was it, micro skirmishes, I guess, comparative to like,
That's true.
like oh you have like 5 movies a year versus 3 movies a year. Oh, Nintendo Switch
Yep.
came out with like 50 good games this year, and the PS4 came out with like 30 good games this year.
Exactly.
So maybe, I mean, that really drives it. Like you have just so much more, or so much less surface area, like per product, right?
Yeah,
So
but you know, they're trying to expand. Like they've been trying to do this for years. Just be everywhere. You know, movies, video games, music. You know, just
mhm.
kind of what all these big production companies are doing.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought it's interesting dynamic to see, like, man,
Hmm.
what can DC do to turn it around, right? I mean, I guess that's
I
just
don't
like that's
know.
like the end all question, or like what can this company do to like start turning it around to gain foothold in the market and to like actually be
Um,
on
well,
par, you
I
know?
think something you mentioned earlier, and we just kind of briefly talked about, was quality,
Yeah.
consistent quality. If they had consistent quality more on the lines of Wonder Woman,
hmm
then they could turn it around.
It's
You
almost a
know.
catch 22 at some point, so because there's only so many resources, right? I mean, whether it's like
Hmm.
obviously money is going to be the huge one. I mean, you look at like Nvidia versus AMD, and they have way more money for R&D, right? Or
Yeah.
Intel versus AMD. Not to say that AMD can't make a good product because they have shown in the
Yeah.
past,
Hmm.
but it's almost catch 22, right? We're the underdog because we don't have the resources, but we don't have the resources because we're the underdog.
Exactly.
It's
But
catch
I'm really
22.
happy that AMD, they're doing like this past year and 2 years, they've just been really kicking
Yeah,
butt.
stocks not so much. Product wise, it's been better than it has in
Yes.
recent years. So I mean, definitely Zen just is kicking butt right now. Vega, not so much. but it's that one's hard. That's definitely fickle. I mean,
Hmm.
you can't hit the guides 100% all the time, but
Yeah, but at least now you have some competitive options.
yeah, and
You
if you
know.
notice, Intel is starting to worry a little bit just because
Hmm.
now they're pushing things out. Oh, we got
Yep.
cores too, guys. Look at all the cores we
Exactly.
have.
We got 64 cores too.
Yeah, so thanks AMD for really pushing like the core race, and that's
Yeah.
what makes things exciting again, right? Races, right?
Yeah.
Like space
Yeah.
race, processor race,
Well, this
video card
reminds me
race.
of the AMD back in the day when it was a back and forth. AMD,
Yeah,
Intel. I mean,
yep.
Intel was always on top, but like
Mhm.
AMD was just right there, like
I mean, there's certain times like
shine.
first dual cores came out, right? Athlon came out,
That's
man.
true.
AMD
I had all
like
those.
P4, yeah, Intel the Pentium 4 was pretty bad when it came out. And I think we've actually gone over this before, like the history of Intel doing shady stuff to like that's
Yep.
affected AMD like even to this day. That's
That's
man.
crazy.
I mean, sometimes I guess as a business you just got to do that to ensure your dominance, right?
Yep.
You can argue like with that all day, I guess, in terms of epics, but
But
anyways,
I will say, I mean, speaking of AMD, I just want to thank my brother again because if you haven't seen it, I'll leave a card up there somewhere. My brother actually was the one who got all the parts, picked everything to build my Monster Linux PC,
yeah.
and in that PC, I'm actually running an AMD RX 470 GPU, 4 gigs, and it's still for me a beast. And so,
Yeah.
great
So
job on that.
yeah, let's do a quick retrospective on your
Hmm.
PC and the absurd prices of PC parts now. I think we bought your PC at actually a really good time because RAM prices have essentially doubled
Oh,
within a
really?
year. Yeah, RAM prices
Okay.
are insane right now. Video card prices have also shot up like 150% due to crypto and supply and demand and mostly supply. But yeah, because I remember we bought your 470 for like stupid cheap. Uh,
Yeah, so let's
one,
go over that for people who aren't familiar with this because it was an exciting thing. I have like a whole playlist
mhm.
for the actual build, and once again, my brother was the one who picked everything. He purchased everything. He got it everything, and then I just put it together,
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I
and it's
mean,
just been awesome.
yeah, we bought it what last year, right? It's only been one
Yes.
year. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think right around that time, prices for these parts just have just shot up to absurd price. It's not a super good time to buy right now, and I'm afraid that they're gonna stay at that, because companies can keep on charging and people are still gonna buy it just because they have no other options, right?
Hmm.
Um, anyways, yeah, like your video card was only 130 after rebate or something. And then I remember a few months later when cryptocurrency started getting popular again, AMD cards actually pretty good at cryptocurrency in terms of how much power to take versus how much it can calculate
Hmm.
because they have a lot of raw, just like good raw computing power for crypto. And I saw your same video card; it almost doubled in price.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, you could have flipped that and bought a different card if you
Yeah, I
wanted to.
could have.
But
Yeah.
it's more on the fact that like, man, these prices just have got insane this past year, and it's become the norm, and I don't want it to be the norm. I'm pretty sure your RAM we bought was only like $80. Buying that same pair now would be closer to 150.
And if you do remember, it's a 16 gig, 3300 megahertz.
Oh, 3300.
It was pretty fast.
Oh
You
my
got a
God.
really great deal on it. It was
Yeah, yeah. Even okay, so with RAM prices, you have different speeds for it, and obviously as you get higher, it gets more pricey. But it's also
mhm.
harder to find and just like harder to find good quality because supply is like it's very low right now. That same kit would probably run you 160, 170 off sale,
Wow.
and we probably got that for you for like 80 or 90.
Yeah, it was like that's a super great deal. And once again, it was
Yeah.
16 gigs of fast memory.
Yeah,
And so
yeah, yeah. And especially with Ryzen coming out, Ryzen is actually pretty particular about the memory you buy. And the lower
oh,
latency, the better. So it's even a little bit tougher for Ryzen users because now you have even less choice, but you're forced to only have such a small selection. Um, yeah, so buying a PC is not it's hard. It's tough right now. It's getting expensive. And
yeah.
I hope it calms down a little bit. It has been. I think RAM price is going down a little bit, but we've seen in the past these RAM monopolies, really, like the three companies, they agree to charge us, this price fixing, right? They
Hmm.
like, let's charge this, and they've done it before. This is not a new thing. There's only what like two or three RAM suppliers in the entire world, I think, or maybe
Wow.
three factories or something like that. Samsung, I forget the other two, but I know Samsung is one of them. And yeah, I mean, they can say, oh, we have short supply due to a lot of phones not using it. A lot of other devices are now taking, and
Yeah, but they're
we
really
just don't have the
holding it.
production output, right, to make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So sad
That,
time.
that's that's kind of crazy, man. I mean, because
Yeah.
obviously, if you like, I myself, I'm not really into the whole PC build industry, but it's kind of like the stock market sometimes. You know, like it depends on the supply and demand and
Yeah.
what's
No, of
needed.
course,
You
of
know.
course, of course. I think it's actually been fairly calm for the most part,
Hmm.
for like the past, I don't know, decade or so. But yeah, things are just getting more and more expensive, and I hope it's gonna become the norm. I mean, I know there are a lot of not just PC parts, but other things getting more expensive as well. Um, anyways, yeah. So
Yeah.
just
So, so
I don't know
probably
how we
not
got on
the.
this. Yeah. So
I don't know.
normal.
Probably not the best time to build a PC if you want a really good GPU.
So it kind of offsets by the fact that processors are now getting cheaper thanks to AMD pushing Intel.
Nice.
So it probably evens out, but it's just the idea of paying this much when I paid this much last year is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is.
But thankfully, AMD has come out with like a really price performant option now, because before AMD wasn't like anywhere close to Intel in terms of performance, and then you had to buy like a $200 $300 processor. Now you can get like $150 processor, and she
Hmm.
haven't seen these processors. They have their cores disabled, right? So if I buy a R5 1600, I think normally it comes as 4 cores, but basically what they do is when they produce like an R7 1700 and it doesn't meet their spec, they'll disable some cores and then just relabel it as a quad core. But a lot of times you can unlock them, so you get like crazy value for your money, right? Because basically it's just like they lock it away because it may not be stable or something, but for the most part people can unlock it and get the value of like a 8 core chip while paying a 4 core price.
And also, my brother, he actually did build a Ryzen machine,
Yeah,
didn't he? Yeah.
it's
So,
it's
could you go
good.
over your specs really quick?
Yeah, it's just a I bought it, man, maybe like a couple months after release, because before I was on a i5 3570K, which is a older Intel CPU, and it was still working pretty well. I mean, it just chugged in a few places, but as I start to get into more programming and obviously more just like development work, it's more of a work decision to be able to have like the more cores, more threads. And this has helped, quite a bit actually. But yeah, it's just a 1700. Oh, that freeze.
Yeah, I think it froze.
Oh, hey, Surface. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Ooh,
Oh,
where
don't
did
worry.
I go?
I could edit it out if you need to restart it. That's so
All right.
weird. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we're back.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, it's been a great processor. Nowhere near pushing the limits of it. And it's gonna scale pretty well. And as far as value goes, it's actually getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So if you buy now, because I think Ryzen Plus is just right around the corner, maybe earlier next year. The prices have like they drop like really quickly. So props to AMD for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good rig. I mean, 1700. I got a what's that? The Tai Chi mobile, which is actually like one of the highest rated mobiles for it. I have it overclocked. I have really fast RAM that I got really really good before RAM prices just like shot up like crazy, because I bought it and I was like I might use this later, so I just jumped on it and I got really lucky. I'm kind of unfortunate to say, but yeah, I got lucky. Yeah, it's just a good machine. The only issue with it is that some of the early Ryzen, they have they had a bug which would cause a seg fault. Um, that
Oh,
was
segmentation faults.
Yeah, that would cause a segmentation fault, and they fixed it at least through hardware or the microcode on later releases. But it does affect some of the earlier Ryzen models. And AMD, they're totally cool about it. They have RMA process. I
Hmm.
just haven't been able to do it. I'm pretty sure mine's affected by it because sometimes in Linux my desktop will just crash.
Yep.
Some people are saying that once you update the kernel, it may fix it, and it happens when you're doing like kind of heavy compilation, and only in Linux really. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're using Linux and you're doing like heavy workloads, compiling a lot of stuff in C or whatever, using make or sorry G plus plus GCC, the C compiler,
Mm-hmm.
it may not be super stable. But that only affects earlier models, and if you buy a newer one, it shouldn't be an issue. But even if you do get affected by it, you can still RMA it. The only issue with that is that I can't really be out of a work desktop for more than a week. You know, it'd be really difficult for me to do that. So like I haven't sent it in yet. It only happens very, 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 very occasionally
Rarely.
though.
Yeah, and I will say this, for all the people who are thinking about doing a Linux PC, obviously most people who are heavy PC users, they'll probably have a Windows machine as well, especially if they're a gamer. But I will say from a Linux user, I use Linux. That's my main desktop. I don't have a separate OS machine. I only have it in virtual machines. So from a person who uses Linux every day, I don't do the same things that my brother does on my machine. But I will say every revision, every version of Linux Mint, it's gotten better. The latest one, I did do a review on that one, an early review. I'll leave a link up there as well. But I did do one on the latest Linux Mint 18.3 Sylvia. And one of the great things is it's running on a newer version of the kernel. It's 4.1, 4.10. Anyway, it's a newer version of the kernel. And AMD and all these other companies have really been stepping up their driver support. So I'm really happy about that because I wasn't getting bad performance before because this hardware is so powerful. But if anybody who ever builds PCs, you know that you can have the most powerful hardware in the world, but if it doesn't have,
Crippled by software. Yep.
yes, it doesn't have the right drivers and software to be optimized for it, it's just gonna run like crap. And so with every version of Linux Mint that I've gotten, my same hardware has gotten better. I mean, I'm sorry, it's been able to perform better,
Yeah, it's been
because it has
aging
a vector.
well.
Yes,
But
yeah,
yeah.
exactly what my brother said, the fine wine principle. So yeah, for all you people who are all the people out there who are thinking about building a Linux PC, then I'd still say do it. If you can't do it as your main one, maybe on a secondary. But
Yeah.
if you are going to use it, the drivers are definitely getting better.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It definitely depends on which distro too, right? You have like a super
Mm-hmm.
rock solid Ubuntu, Mint's also
Yes.
solid. Um, Personally for me, every time I boot into a Windows machine, I just like I'm not enjoying it. I made the switch about 6, 7 months ago, and now it's hard for me to be on a Windows PC if I'm not doing anything other than playing games.
And
That's actually the only thing I use it for is playing games now.
yeah, so like, can you explain to people why do you use Linux on your other machine versus Windows?
Primarily for development. As a web developer, it's super important that all your stuff just works, and there's it's a lot less frustrating for me. Um, with Windows, you run into a lot of just these small issues that are just not compatible, not very well done in the OS itself for web development primarily. Um, that and just the interface and the keyboard shortcuts, I'm just super used to now. Just like all these tasks, it's muscle memory to me now to be able to do all the things I do in Linux that I can't do in Windows super easily. Performance, even battery life, which is surprisingly funny. I have a Surface Pro 4, right? Made by Microsoft. You know, they do the OS and the hardware. But I get better battery life on Linux, which isn't like optimized for it, right? Like not, I don't think it's been like
Yeah.
hand optimized for it, but yeah, it's just I don't know. I just love the Linux environment now.
And are you still running on Arch?
Yeah, on both desktop and Surface. So
So,
I just like my setup a lot. You know, it's
mhm.
just using it. I don't know. It's the GUI, the interface. I have a super simple interface. No start menu, no buttons. It's just command line and then some windows, and that's it.
Yeah, because as a developer, you like to have it lean. You don't want too
Yeah,
many resources. You
of
just want to
course.
focus on it compiling, doing the computations, running your
Right, right.
programs.
And I'm a KISS guy, not like the
Mm-hmm.
band KISS, but there's this principle in software engineering and probably just engineering in general. It's called keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So that means my setup is just really lean and it does everything I want it to do very quickly. I don't run into a lot of like GUI issues or anything because like once you start adding more things, it does start to complicate a little bit more, right? Like
Yep.
if you have like a full blown desktop GUI, it may or may not be super and maybe that's what you're experiencing. You know, it's like every iteration of Mint gets better and better, like desktop GUI compatibility. But if you look at the very core of it, like the less things you have, the less problematic it is. And
Yes,
so I think that's why I love like the simplicity of it, you
yeah,
know.
and that's why I really, this is speaking to people who already know this. It's nothing new for them. That's why I really love Linux because depending on the type of person you are, you could make it as heavy, as GUI laden as you want, or as really
Super
bare
light.
bones
Yep.
as you want, super light.
Hmm.
And Arch is one of the lightest one, but it's also very powerful. It's
Yeah,
extremely
yeah,
powerful.
yeah. In terms of it's just bare minimums and you do everything yourself. I mean, the downside is that it does have a large learning curve to it. So you really got to get your hands dirty and deep. And but once you do, it's super useful.
Yeah, but
But
as a
I
web
love it.
developer that makes sense.
Yeah.
The better you are at coding, you're gonna know a lot about how the machine memory works, all that stuff. And
Hmm.
so Arch would probably be the best for you because you can
Yeah.
control more
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Anyways, man, how do we get on this tangent? It went from Marvel to AMD.
Yeah, so
Um,
so if you watch me and my brother's show, whenever we talk, we kind of start off with something, but then there's like other stuff like
yeah.
we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So what else was on the agenda? Or wait, there wasn't either. There was an agenda.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, before we move on, like the great thing about being a geek is the ability to tie in all your passions together, or how you see things relate, and all that dots start to connect, and um, yeah, that's the fun part about it. So
That is.
surprised, but not surprised how we got here.
And
Yeah,
while my brother's thinking of the other topic, check out in the background, he's got Wolfenstein 2.
yeah, good game so far. I have not really sat down and played it, so we could probably just jump into games. Um, Man, so many good games this year. It's such a good time to be a gamer. Perfectly honest. I haven't really sat down and played too many games within the past 2 years, but this year I just find myself just like being almost irresponsible in terms of my time. I'm just playing so many video games, which is like a double-edged sword. It's good and bad, right? Like I love games, but I can't spend too much time with games, because I just know I got other things I need to finish. But yeah, this year has just been really, really good, surprisingly good. And I think that's
So,
the best part about it is like, after a while, I'm like, yeah, I like games, and maybe I'm kind of weaning off of it a little bit, but then like, nope,
uh-huh.
just like pull me right back in, just of how great the quality is, of how much good content there is out there for games.
So what are some of the standouts for you this year?
Yeah, definitely Nintendo Switch. Uh, So if I remember correctly in our earlier videos, when it first got announced, we were like, "Oh snap, this is gonna be great!" And then we saw some specs come out, and then we're kind of
Hmm.
like,
Maybe,
maybe.
yeah.
And then we kind of got a little cautious of it. But
Hmm.
now I'm back on. Oh man, this thing is great because it actually is really, really great.
My brother has a Switch, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Switch is, man, it's just it's magical. I mean, like that's how I put it. Is the fact that games haven't really made me excited in a long like it makes me feel like a kid again in a good way, in terms of like you just get sucked in and it makes you laugh and smile,
Which is what they should do.
unexpectedly. Yeah, you think about it like, oh man, I like this adult, I got like bills to pay, mouths to feed, all this stuff, but then you sit down, you play Nintendo Switch, and you're just like 10 years old again. You're laughing
So,
at all these little things, like the gameplay is just, I don't know, it just puts you, it's not even nostalgic because these
new
are
games.
old IPs, but they're new, like completely new and different games. But I'm not like, oh man, this is what I remember gaming was like, or this is what I remember Mario or Zelda was like. No, it's not even that. It's just this is the way that those games made me feel back then is like the way I'm feeling now, right? Just like this sense of
Like Wonder and
wonderment and just like happiness, and just like you can't help but smile and laugh at these things, right?
so obviously you did get the new Super Mario, right?
Yeah, I got Odyssey. Odyssey is really fun. Odyssey is really good. Zelda's really good. So the games I do have, got it with Zelda, Mario Kart 8, uh, and Mario Rabbids Kingdoms, which is like the turn-based XCOM style game from Ubisoft. It's actually really good as well. Actually, yeah, all these games are good. Like I can't stop gushing about how good it is. Um, yeah, I did pick up Odyssey. Yeah, pretty recently. I
And one thing I will say that when I played these with my brothers,
mm,
I have another link somewhere. God, I have so many different videos, but
yeah,
that was my first time playing the Nintendo Switch, and I was amazed. The portability factor, to me,
it's
that's something
surprising.
that we talked about
Yeah,
even before it came out. I was like, dude, if this is portable and it's actually good, it's gonna set it apart, and it was really good.
that has been also a major draw on it for me. Is like, man, I just get to like lay down because as a programmer, I'm sitting at my desk all day, right? Looking at my monitor, and sometimes that's like I don't want to do that. I just want to go lay down there in the back or lay in bed and play on the toilet, whatever. You know?
Toilet gaming.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I think the portability just it's very subtle because we have other devices that are obviously portable,
Hmm.
but this one is just and I don't think we've ever really had a gaming experience like this. I mean, it's kind of like when Game Boy Color.
Yeah, or
Let me
Game Boy just came
let me
out. You know.
like it's kind of going from maybe Game Boy Color to 3DS almost in terms of like, yeah, we've had portable gaming for a while, but this is like a
Hmm.
different level of portable gaming. DS was definitely good, but it still felt like a portable form factor, right? With the Switch, it is a portable form factor, but it doesn't feel like a portable game.
Yeah,
It's
you
like a
have your
like
console with you.
yeah, it's like a fully blown game, and
Hmm.
I don't think we've had that experience before where you're playing like a full game, on your on the go or
Yeah,
whatever.
I would agree. I mean, like you said, there've been so many other portables, the PlayStation Vita, even before that, the PSP. But it's exactly what you said.
Mhm.
When I had those, I always felt that it was a portable
Those are like
gaming
chunk
device.
size games, right?
Yeah.
Like very almost minified in a sense. I mean, obviously you have like RPGs and stuff where
Hmm.
it's like a full 100-hour game or whatever, but I don't know now it's just yeah, it's just a different feel. I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain,
I know
but
what you're saying because it's like when you experience that, you're like, wait, am I playing a home
you don't
console?
even
You know,
think
it's like
you don't even think
you just
like it's
played a game.
you're just playing it. You don't even think about
Yeah.
like the portable is it
Hmm.
does a really good job of blurring the lines, which is what it's supposed to do, right? Because you can connect it, you can dock it, right? But I spend definitely like 80% of the time playing it in my hands.
That's
You know?
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what else besides the Switch that really like made you game more this year, you
Yeah.
know?
So I mean I think the central theme behind this is that I'm just surprised like how good this stuff like has been because I had Switch and that surprised me, but then like Cuphead came out and then that surprised me like even more than Switch and I've probably played Cuphead more than any game so far this year. Maybe
So
it's
so
definitely
what
up
is it
there.
that you enjoy? Because everybody's been raving about this game. It's done extremely well.
Yeah. So it'll definitely draw you in with the graphics and the charm of the game, right? It's like a like a very beautiful 1920s cartoon, but behind that is like the gameplay is just super solid. It's fun to play in terms of like how it controls, how the bosses are. I'm kind of a I get a little bit obsessive about completing games on like 100% run when it's a challenge,
You're a
right?
completionist.
Yeah, like, if you ever play like a music rhythm game such as Guitar Hero, and you
Hmm.
got like really good at it, like X doing like playing songs like expert, right? It's that same feeling of just like getting better, like training yourself at the game. Like you can see your mechanics improving like day over day, or even like minute over minute, you know. So I think for me, it's just because I've been playing that game on I'm trying to S rank it, which is not getting hit. It's actually like very difficult to get a S rank. It's or A plus or S rank. You don't get hit. You have to meet all these conditions, right? And the boss fight
Okay.
maybe 2.5 minutes, like anywhere from like a minute and a half to 2.5 minutes. But for you to do like a perfect run through of this boss, it may take you like an hour or two just practicing
Oh
it
wow.
because you have to. It's like a they call it a bullet hell game, right? And bullet hell games are where like, there's a lot of projectiles coming at you at one time, and you have
Yes.
to be able to
Evade
predict.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to evade and predict and to adapt
Hmm.
because the boss fight's not always the same. Maybe he'll do this one time, then maybe he'll do this one time. It's never just like he's always gonna do this, and this.
So it's not
So
like the old shoot 'em ups where they have certain patterns you can memorize.
it is, but it varies at the same time. So you're never gonna have like
Hmm.
this. You may not have the same patterns twice in a row, right? You may have this pattern, or you may have this pattern. So you just have to get really good at recognizing and being aware of where you are spatially with the game. But yeah, it's just for me, it's just that it's scratching that completionist factor, like the challenging part of it too. It's a challenging game. You know, people will say even playing on normal or simple is difficult, but then you take that and then you take it to like a perfect run, it's even like harder, right? So the game probably takes maybe about 10 hours to complete. It probably took me closer to 20 doing the perfect run through because I just want to uh, perfect run it. And then once you do that, once you beat the game, you unlock expert mode, which is even harder. And so now I'm perfect running through that right now.
Wow. And unfortunately, Cuphead is not available on Linux right now.
Yeah.
And it is available obviously for PC gamers, specifically Windows PC gamers, and it's only available right now on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, that had
yeah,
exclusivity. You
definitely
know.
Microsoft, they stepped in because this game took a really long time to make. And you can definitely tell that trying to do all these animation, like the quality of animations between like two guys is just not, it's almost unrealistic, right? So the game took quite a while to come out, and I'm pretty sure Microsoft stepped in at some point to help fund it and then also get the exclusivity on it. But regardless, it's just like it's a great game. If you're gonna buy it, maybe buy it on the Windows Store just because you get to play anywhere, which means you can play it on the Xbox if you have Xbox One or your PC. It's also available on Steam as well, but um, you know,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
that option. It's just
You don't have
extra.
to buy it again when
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to
We
play
play
it
on
somewhere else.
Xbox, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you gotta deal with the Windows Store, which is always not been good. So, but I don't know. But yeah, so Cuphead has been just like really good. And it also goes back to the fact that I like games that are short, you know, because the bosses are short and the gameplay is just extremely satisfying. And that's another thing that I've noticed this year, which is also why the Switch is hitting all the right buttons for me, is that the gameplay is just good. You know, Nintendo's always been a huge stickler for just make sure the game controls and feels well first before doing anything else. You know, like you remember the stories of Miyamoto. He's just like, yeah, when we came up with Mario, we had to make sure the physics were right first. So we were doing all the testing, and it wasn't even a character; it's just a block, right? Just like a pixel, just jumping up and down. And he's like, yeah, this feels really solid. And then they built the world and everything else on top of it. And that philosophy still holds true, you know, today for Nintendo. So when you look at Super Mario Odyssey, it's just like, yeah, this game is just actually really fun to play. It's really creative and unique, and it's just you don't get that level of just control anywhere else. You know, not just control, but just everything about it. It's
Yeah.
just make
It's
sure the
this
game is fun first, and then everything
Yeah,
else is
it's
just
distinctly Nintendo because
yeah.
Nintendo makes a game that is not only fun. They have already the base foundation perfected, but it's like those games kind of like Cuphead, where, and this is in human nature anyway.
Which is why
When you
I
have a
also enjoy
challenge,
Cuphead so much too.
yeah, when you
But
have a challenge that's done well, you want to keep getting better, and
right,
that is very very difficult to do.
yeah,
You're not just playing it just so you could get to the end. No,
yeah.
you actually want to get better as you're playing.
There's not like a lot of fluff or fat in the gameplay itself. You know, Cuphead is very straightforward, and if you die, it's your own fault. You know, it's really hard to get a perfect run, but if you do, you should feel accomplished because, like,
You're skilled.
yeah, your skill. I mean, there are some BS reasons in Cup, like very few, but for like 90% of the game, it's like, yeah, if you want to beat it, you can beat it. If you put it down, but it's hard, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the same thing, I don't know. There's just you look at when AAA games started getting bigger and bigger, maybe in like the PS2, and probably like the PS3, Xbox era. Now we're so focused with graphics and open world and all these
And
other
all the
things,
other stuff surrounding that's outside of the game.
which is new at the time, which which is
Uh-huh.
fine, you know, which is like it's like brand new at the time. So people were just like, wow, you know, this is like amazing. But now you look at those same games now, and it's just like a rehash. It's like another open world game or
Yeah.
like another just like fetch quest or
And
do this quest. I mean,
well, what I really meant by that was it's not about the game anymore. There's so many other distractions. Everybody who's a gamer knows the DLC, the DRM, microtransaction, loot boxes. It's like if all you have to do is look on YouTube. More people are complaining about like Battlefront 2, right? They're complaining more about all the other stuff
yeah,
around it,
right,
and
right,
it's
right.
like then you forget about the game. But then when you talk
Yeah.
about like a Mario game, they don't talk about that stuff.
It's
They
yeah,
talk about the game.
it's not just that. I mean, the gameplay is just it gets shallow. You know, it gets
Big time.
old after a while. You look at like was it War for Middle Earth? Oh, not War for Middle. I'm sorry. What's that Lord of the Ring games that came
Yeah,
out?
yeah, the new one, Shadow
Uh,
War,
Shadow War, War of Shadows, or
yeah,
whatever, right?
loot box.
it's not just that, but the gameplay itself is just, oh, I gotta kill this guy. It gets really tedious and repetitive, and it's just like you're just checking
Grinding.
stuff off of a list, right? Even like the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed game, I know a lot of people complain about that. Oh, I gotta
Yep.
do this, I gotta do this. It takes, I don't know. It's just it's tedious.
Yeah. And
But all
I
these other
really gotta.
games,
Well, I gotta really give credit to Nintendo.
yeah,
They've kept that despite any generation.
yes, for the most part, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm in Zelda. It's open world and it's getting a little tedious for me at some point, so that's why I haven't played it in a while. It's still a great game, and I don't expect anyone to do an open world game so well that you're just completely entranced with new stuff after
Hmm.
30, 40 hours, right? I mean, you take a look at like the old Elder Scrolls game. Like a lot of people
Hmm.
love Elder Scrolls 3 and 4, and then when 5 came out, it's just like it looks well, like visually there's nothing wrong with it. Like gameplay, there's not too much wrong with it, but there just wasn't like the same depth of different things to do and story building and all those other stuff. So
Hmm.
a lot of people would say like, oh yeah, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim is, it's more shallow. Or you look at Fallout 4 versus New Vegas. People love the crap out of New Vegas, versus
Hmm.
4. But yeah, sadly, it's just that's how it is sometimes. I
Well,
mean,
that
you only have so many creative resources, right, to be able to put into
exactly,
it.
and also so many ideas. There's just,
Yeah.
I mean, on the flip side, there's way more games than there was 20 years ago. There's
And
an insane amount.
and it's really easy to not advance the formula. You made a game before, just do the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's
Which
super
which
easy.
is it'll still sell, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's a little bit less effort on their part in that regards. Maybe they have to
Hmm.
spend it more on graphics or other things that they would probably think that would make the game sell better. But you do lose a part of like the gameplay depth in there. There are other
Yeah.
things that make the game deep, right?
One thing I did notice is my brothers, when I look at their Steam library, they like games where, they told me about the phrase where there's levels are random,
Oh,
but also,
roguelikes. Yeah,
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 roguelikes, but
yeah.
also at the same time, I've seen some of these games, most of them are smaller games, where, like, say something like Mario level, you build your own, when you build your own game, like Minecraft or something, I think that's really where, and it's probably already there anyway. But maybe we'll see more and more user-created games. As technology gets better, where people could build games easier.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
most definitely. I mean, that's what indie games are, right?
Hmm.
And that's why I love a very well done indie game because they don't have the budget to focus on
Hmm.
graphics or making a game huge. When you make an indie game, it's like if your gameplay is not good, no one's gonna play it, right? Because you don't have the
Yep.
money to spend it anywhere else. And
Exactly.
so that's why I love it. But there's more of an emphasis, right? Because that's gonna be more of making or breaking the game. You put a
Yep.
game out that's like I don't know, Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, and it's just like, I mean, they don't need to work on a gameplay. They just work on adding
Hmm.
other stuff, right?
Yep.
And so you lose sight of what makes the game like super fun or long lasting, right?
Yeah. So
There's so many hours I put in these small indie games, but it's worth it because I enjoy the gameplay more than anything else.
yeah, and I'm not really thinking more of indie games. I'm thinking like platforms like a Minecraft or a Mario Builder where they give
Oh
you the
yes,
tools.
hardware. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you could build it yourself, and there's no technical stuff,
Yeah, but that's
and
just that's just a stepping stone, right? Once you start
yeah.
doing that, you're gonna start getting into programming, or you're gonna
Exactly.
start.
Exactly. And so I think as similar to what we have right now with YouTube, if you think about 15 years ago, this would be impossible. But you're actually learning things like video editing, storytelling,
Hmm.
movie stuff, right? So in the future, when there's more stuff like Minecraft or like Mario Builder where people could just build
Yeah.
games and just release it
Hey,
without
but
a publisher, that'd be
it's
awesome.
it's come a long way. If you think about it, there's a game on PlayStation One. It was a
Hmm.
PSX or whatever you want to refer it to. It's an RPG maker,
Yeah,
on
that was a
PSX. It's
classic.
like yeah, so that's one of the very first times I can remember we can like start building your own games without having the technical knowledge. There's also a fighting game creator on
Yes, there
PSX.
was.
Yeah, I
There
remember
was.
seeing ads for that.
You could make your own Tekken.
Yeah, yeah, but without the internet, people really couldn't share this content, right?
Yep.
Um, or non-technical people who really couldn't share because like yeah, you still had mods back in the day, right? With like Doom and stuff like that. But I want to say Little Big Planet was one of the first games that really came out that I was like, oh, you can make your own stuff and share it super easily, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah, you're
platform for
right.
you to
That was
just
the
like,
first one to share it.
yeah,
Share levels.
yep.
That's what I'm excited for in gaming. As more and more the tools get better, that you will have more people just like publishing their games really quickly. You know, you just build it, take the tools, bam, push it out there. That would be awesome. I mean, you're probably gonna get a lot of crappy games for sure,
Yeah,
but
yeah, of
just like
course.
YouTube, you get a lot of crappy content as well,
Yeah. So
depending on
I
what you
think
like.
like the success formula for it is that if you have a really good solid gameplay for the game builder, like Super
Hmm.
Mario World,
Hmm.
that's gonna be really good. People love Super Mario World, you know.
Yep.
As it has it really like caught on to the point where like, oh, you know, it's like craze? Not really, but it caters very well to the audience. So I'm not sure if there's ever gonna be a time where there's just like a generic game builder that'll work for everyone. Um, but I think it's more the fact that like here's a type of game and here's like stuff that people have made within this game itself.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the future, because you know we know this on the internet. There's a lot more user-generated content. Like if you think about companies like Facebook or Google, they don't create their own content. We do.
Mhm.
And so I'm hoping that in the future, if anybody's going to do something like that, it's going to be Nintendo. They'll have a Nintendo platform. We're going to have a set of base tools, and you can
Mhm.
create these types of games. You just choose the category you like. Hey, you like RPGs? Choose this. And Nintendo, with their designers and all their game skills and experience, right, their mastery, they've already with a pre-built stuff specific for that genre.
Mhm.
And I could see that happening, but you would pay a
Yeah.
Nintendo fee to use their platform to do
Yeah,
it.
but it's definitely tied to the people who make the tools and the game. I think there's a lot of the problem with, you know, maybe with that is like
Hmm.
the gameplay itself. Like, how do you differentiate yourself enough from like the next guy building his game? But like video and stuff, I can see because you have all these other things. Like, you have the whole world around you, right? To can
Hmm.
use to draw like your source from. But in a game, you only have what they provide you, and if you want to start getting like very custom or technical, it's going to be a lot more difficult, right? So it gets, I would say, it's more cookie cutter in that sense. I think that's why it's so hard to do it with games, you know?
Yeah, but if you look at stuff that like they've done it before, like with just think about Mario Builder, right? I mean, that worked really well for that genre. And
Right.
so if they could duplicate something similar to that, then and if you're investing in it, you're going into that platform, you know you're going to be tied to that platform. It's just only for
Right.
Nintendo people,
But
and then
that's
they can
what,
charge people
yeah,
for
that's
it.
the point I was making earlier. Like, yeah, Super Mario Maker works really well for the platform for Mario games. But when you want to play a different game that's not Mario, it would be a lot more. That's what I'm saying. It's tied to like the core gameplay. So yeah, obviously there's like you have to make sure the core gameplay is really good. But how do
Hmm.
you make a lot of different core gameplays like really really good? Right?
That's what I'm
It's
thinking.
difficult.
Like,
Yeah.
because it would be somebody like a Nintendo because they know games, and so they would have different set of core genres. You know, if you choose this template, then they've already built the foundation for that. You know, you just put the piece. They know that it'll work for this type of genre. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's definitely super ambitious. I mean,
yeah,
because then you have all these other factors in there, like, oh, what about assets? You know, now I got to build like all this stuff for FPSs to make it like different enough. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of like, you know, FPS makers, RPG
yes,
makers, platform makers, what have you. But what ends up happening with those is like a lot of them get really like cookie cutter, you know.
yeah, that's true.
Um, and then yeah, I get what you're saying. Like in an ideal
Hmm.
world, yeah, that would be crazy. That'd be super fun. But I'm not sure if it's possible without getting tech. Because like you look at Unity, right? Even you'll see
Yes.
very cookie cutter Unity games because they share same assets, and that kind of platform gives you the ability to add all your own things and customize it, right? But you have to be technical to do that
Hmm.
because just like the budget to have like a just a vast amount of resources available to people is going to be huge.
Yeah,
Plus, and then graphics
or
are
the
always
Unreal
changing.
Engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then graphics are always changing, and then you have to
Hmm.
update your stuff every 2 3 years. I mean, if it came to the point where graphics like wouldn't change that much in 10 years, then yeah, I can see that you can create this huge library for like here's all these assets, here's all these sounds, graphics, you know, what have you. But I just feel
Eh,
like, you know, the
I
technology what game is moves way too quick to be able to do something like
Yeah,
that
that's
right
why I
now.
think like in my opinion it would be owned by somebody like Nintendo. So they
Yeah.
would have to agree to it. They own these assets and since they're the ones who are the maintainer, they will do all the updates. You just have the tools and you just build it. I think that's where there's I really think that's where the next wave of gaming will come, where it's user-generated games, but in a fashion where it's owned by that platform. They have the quote-unquote experts to build templates for it, and so you could just focus on creating it. Like I keep thinking about what they did with the Mario, or whatever that
Mm.
Mario builder, like because that was successful and it was controlled by Nintendo. It was Nintendo assets. It's just that you couldn't go out and sell it anywhere. But if it was owned by Nintendo and you could only get it on Nintendo's platform, like say you are a subscriber to the Nintendo online service, then you could only buy those games there and you could only play it on a Nintendo system.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm thinking. I think that would be a way for these platforms like PlayStation or Xbox to actually control people in that platform, but still allow them to use
Yeah.
their resources.
Yeah, I just think the biggest hump is being able to customize your game enough for it to be different, you know?
Yeah, that'd be a challenge.
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
definitely like the hardest part because the reason why people love games is like there's just so
It's
much different
different.
variety out there, right? Each game is so
Hmm.
different from the next game, and I don't know. I mean,
So, um, so what other games besides? Because you primarily talked about Nintendo Switch and Cuphead. I
yeah,
heard really good, great reviews for Wolfenstein as well. They said it's amazing.
yeah. Wolfenstein 2 is pretty good so far. It hasn't sucked me in like the way the first one has. I love the first Wolfenstein and the expansion for it. 2 it's good. It's definitely good. It's just more of the same, which is what I expected. But maybe I'm just not in like the FPS mood right now to sit down and play through like a 10-hour FPS. But I've been playing it here and there. It's good. It's definitely good. Graphics are great. There are performance issues. Like a lot of games always come out on PC. There can be performance issues at the very start, but I would say it is performing better than the first Wolfenstein just because they switched to Intech 5, 6. They,
Oh,
they
it's a
switched
new
to the
engine.
latest. It's the same engine that Doom 2016 uses, right? And that game
Okay.
was just, great. Like so well optimized. Wolfenstein 2 doesn't have that level of optimization yet, but it's a lot better than the first engine they used. So I'll say that. But yeah, it's really good. It gets super over the top. It just gets really like cartoony and caricaturey, which is what it is. It's getting fun. It's fun. Oh, and man, yeah. So I think when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or what other movie? But I just had this feeling. It was like, oh man, it's just fun. Like I haven't really felt that in a long time. Where you can enjoy yourself. You can like take yourself out of the experience,
Uh huh.
or you can take yourself out of the world and like, yeah, I'm just having fun with it. I think that's what Wolfenstein does for me. It's just like
Yeah.
it's not like a masterpiece, but it's just fun.
I,
You
I,
know?
I I think that's why people enjoyed Doom last year so much,
Yeah.
and then now with Wolfenstein 2 is because it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. It goes back to the game and the gameplay. There was very little talk about anything else surrounding the game. It was the game. You just go in, you play,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was fun.
I mean, it looked great and it's fun to play. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I
story.
miss that. I miss that in games. I just want to pick it
Yeah.
up and play it and have a great time. You
Yeah.
know?
Which I think is why. Sorry. Why these games have been so good. It's just because like I mentioned earlier, the gameplay is just it's good. It's just fun. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's fun. Nintendo Switch more because it's like it just makes me smile. I'll be playing Mario and Rabbids, which is like a turn-based XCOM game, but in the Mario and Ubisoft Rabbids
Yeah,
universe.
rabbits. Yeah, they're from Rayman.
Yeah, and the dialogue is very well done. It's a game for kids, but you can definitely tell it's written by adults who are just kids on the inside because they'll make small jokes or innuendos, and you're like, "This isn't a kids game," but it's funny. It's funny. Like kids are just like, "Psh." But
Kind of like what Pixar does in some of their movies.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll appeal to the kids, but if you look really deep down, no, you have to look that deep down inside. It's just like dialogue is it works for adults as well. It's not just catering 100% to kids. It's just
Uh,
catering to like a fun, good natured kind of vibe.
uh So I guess I'm gonna have to pick up a Nintendo Switch because I really did enjoy it. I was actually pleasantly surprised myself. You know.
Yeah, maybe for if you're not like itching to play any games or anything, maybe wait for a second revision because there's gonna be one that's lighter, better battery, better
Yeah,
controls coming out. So it's
yeah,
right.
And the reason it would appeal to me is because if you watch my channel, I'm a child of the 80s. So I love those games. It's retro gaming for a lot of people, but for me, those are the games that I enjoy. And so whenever I played the Nintendo Switch, the time that I played with my brothers, it reminded me of that. I just wanted to play the game, and we had a great time, and that's what I remember when I was growing up playing games. You just played games, you went to your friend's house, you played games, it was just fun. And
Yep.
that's it. There was really nothing else, and that's why I enjoy
Yeah.
retro gaming, and that's why I enjoyed the Nintendo Switch. So
Yeah. And Nintendo's hitting out of the park right now. It's definitely not just the hardware itself, but the first party support. Their games that have came out are really, really good. I mean, people are arguing, yeah, this is like the best in the series. This is the best in the series. A lot of people are like, yeah, this is better than Super Mario 64. This is better than Ocarina of
yep,
Time. So for them to have like such a like those games have legendary status too, right? Beloved,
yep,
always gonna be beloved, always gonna be like a 10 out of 10, in our hearts and our mind.
yep.
And for them to come out with a game that's like on the same level,
Better.
not better. It's just like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
whoa.
Especially with something like Ocarina of Time, that
Yeah.
is legendary.
Yeah. And not just for like, even if you go back and play it now, it's still like, or even Super Mario 64, like platforming that is so
Yep.
miles beyond modern games, right? It's timeless.
Yeah, it is
Um,
timeless. That's the mark of a great game. Great
yeah.
gameplay, great story, great characters. It'll never get old. You
Yeah, I
know.
mean, even OG Mario, right? Super Mario 1,
Mm-hmm.
it's still timeless because it's still fun to play. It still
Yeah.
controls really well. And Nintendo has brought that back in, the modern day and age. And people 10, 15 years are going to be looking back on Odyssey and be like, this game is
Yep.
super good. It's still really fun.
And that's kind of crazy because there's so many options in games,
Yeah.
but so few of them are memorable like that.
Hmm.
Like if you played I mean, it's like we're talking all about Nintendo Switch, but if you played any of those games, you will remember it decades from now. Whereas all
Yeah.
these other games that are released, you probably forget
You're
about in
like,
the
oh
next few
yeah, it's
months.
pretty good. You put like
Yeah.
so many hours to it, but then when you kind of look back on like what did I enjoy about that game?
Yeah, you're waiting for the next release next year. That's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. It's
So
like
yeah, Odyssey is really good, and it's co-op too. So even better,
yeah, yeah.
even
For me,
better.
because I talked to my brother before it was released when we first heard about it. I said I wish it had both Zelda and Mario at the same time, but now I could get both.
Hmm.
So, anyways, excited.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm excited. Even more so, just like third-party support is
Hmm.
coming online for Nintendo. Plus, there's a ton of indie games out there on Switch, and it's also the perfect platform for indie games.
Wow, wow, that's surprising.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
So what do you like? What I didn't know that. I don't think about indie games when I think about Nintendo. Like,
Yeah, so Nintendo's been really receptive to it, for good reason, because the PSP was actually also really good for indie games. Whether or not it wasn't like super popular, but it was a really good platform because like, obviously good battery life. It's not like huge hardware requirements. And you can play it on the go. It's portable, right? So games like Golf Story, which is a golf RPG, is actually like people were like, this game is great. I think what else is coming out for it? uh, what's that farming game?
Farmville?
Stardew Valley.
Oh, it started. Okay,
That's coming
okay.
out for Switch. It's just getting a lot of support. I think Cave Story also came out for Switch, which is like another like really, really, really well received indie game. But it makes sense. I would assume it's fairly easy to port to Switch, and
Hmm.
it's the right audience for people to be buying those games, I think.
And it's kind of funny because I'm glad you mentioned that Stardust View, or I can't remember, because a
Stardew.
lot of those indie games, they would appeal to Nintendo players,
Yeah.
because they're the games that we
Focus
remember.
on, yeah, I mean,
That type of gameplay, you
and
know?
that's why it ties back into earlier why I said I love indie games so much, because it does focus on the gameplay, right?
Hmm.
And if you want the gameplay, play Nintendo Switch. If you want the graphics and like that visual fidelity and like that experience, play, PC 360, or not 360, Xbox One
Xbox One.
X,
Yeah.
Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, what have you. Um, the only thing that Switch may not do well, and everyone can see it's from a mile away, is like online. They may not
Yes.
do so well online, but you got other platforms for that. And with
Yeah.
with these core gameplay games, It's kind of fun. Core gameplay games. Games that focus on the core gameplay. They're gonna be mostly single player, anyways, for the most part.
That's right. That's right.
So
I
yeah,
mean, and if you even think about Wolfenstein 2 and Doom, they're
yeah.
single player games. They're not
Oh,
they're not
Doom,
really
Doom has
built for.
multiplayer.
Yeah, but they're not
That's not
really
good.
built. Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
built for multiplayer first. They're built for single player gaming
yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely,
multiplayer just happens to be an added on, just like the old games of Doom and stuff. You know, the single
definitely.
player was the first
Yep.
thing, then online everything else was supported it. You know,
Yeah. So yeah, Switch is not going to be online first, like multiplayer first. It's definitely gameplay first.
and I did like the local co-op, like, which what a lot of people would do. You play split screen with people.
Yeah.
It was like that's fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I play Mario Kart a lot with my girlfriend, and we get pretty competitive. And it's so fun, you know. It's just timeless. Another timeless game, right? Timeless formula.
Oh man.
But yeah, good year for games. Um, super good year for games. Surprisingly good, and I hope
So
the trend continues. Yeah.
I think it will if more people buy the Nintendo Switch.
Mhm.
Nintendo, please sponsor us if you want. But so my brother has been gone for a while. So can you talk a little bit about where you've been?
Yeah, I quit my job. I traveled the world. I didn't quit my job, but I did travel the world. Um, I went to vacation in Thailand and India, and I moved to a different part of California. Yeah. So that's why I haven't been on as much.
Mhm.
Mostly just busy readjusting. So now I'm starting to settle back in, and things are starting to come back to normal pace. So yeah, one thing that really opened up my mind to when traveling to Thailand is like I would consider moving there and being a digital nomad. Very, very,
So
very real possibility. And if a lot of you guys don't know,
yep.
digital nomad is someone who just works on the internet, right? So you're not really restricted to some geographical location, right? You just like if you're a freelancer, yeah, just code from a different country.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's appealing to me because I mean, not only is like our heritage like pretty similar to Thailand, but I just would not be totally against like a change of pace, like just being like somewhere way different, right? Plus the cost of living there is really cheap, and it's not really about a money thing. It's more about like a lifestyle thing, just trying something new.
Yep. And my brother and his girlfriend, they actually went to Chiang Mai, which is
Mhm.
basically the epicenter of digital nomads in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, 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 definitely. It's so Chiang Mai is North Thailand. It's a little bit more in the mountainous areas, and it does cater a little bit more to Westerners because you will see a lot of just
Hmm.
not Thai people on the streets. But yeah, it's just it's nice, in terms of like just the food, the culture, the people are very welcoming.
And there's
Um,
fast internet in
yeah,
those areas.
yeah, and it's just I would consider doing it for a year or two, just
And
just to
for
try it out. Yeah.
and for people who might not be familiar, what is in general the cost of living and comparison, like in U.S. dollars, how much could you live off of if you had to calculate that
Yeah,
out?
you can get a small one room apartment for maybe like 200 a month. We stayed at Airbnb, which was like a luxury apartment, and that was I think 700 a month, which is definitely attainable if you're a freelancing, in US rates or European rates or whatever, it's cheap. Food maybe like $2 a meal, $2, $3 for
Wow. And
like a
good food.
full really good meal. Yeah, like legit authentic like savory, mouth-watering meal is only $2 or $3. So
And just for references, because obviously my brother doesn't have any pictures, but they were at the beach. They were like hanging out with elephants, and
yeah,
like for $200 a month, you might think in the U.S. you couldn't get an apartment for that, but for 200 to 300 U.S. dollars, that's not in a horrible poor
oh, you're pretty
area,
well
right?
off. Yeah, you're pretty well off if you're because I mean, obviously the rest of the country or a lot of other people in the country are very poor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just for you to be able to expose yourself and to have all these different options. I mean, maybe a lot of people just like don't think that it's attainable, right? Oh, I can't move
Mm-hmm.
to the country. I can't do it. No, it's actually very, very, very realistic. If you're that type of person to really just like put themselves out of their comfort zone.
Yep. And so, one thing I do want to mention, because I did work online and I still work online as well. And so, I've really been watching the whole digital nomad life of these people who live in Thailand, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, where the cost of living is low. But like my brother's saying, if you have U.S. rates or European rates, and I think the most important thing that I've noticed with all digital nomads, you need some type of valuable skills that you could do online. Web dev is huge,
Hmm.
digital marketing, those skills, or if you are a content writer. And if you could do that, I think based upon what my brothers told me, and other things I've seen, if you make anywhere from 3 to 5,000, especially 5,000 US online, you could live really well in
Oh
a
yeah,
place like
5,000
Thailand.
US online. You can buy a house in like a couple months, most like because houses over there. Oh man, it's like ridiculously cheap, like 20,000 or something US.
And you could just build whatever we want on the land, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. It's I think the appeal of it is just the freedom, right? The
Hmm.
freedom to do what you want when you want, and especially when you work online. And it just exacerbates that even more, right? Oh, now that I live in a different country, I just work online. Well, just do whatever you feel like doing, right? I mean,
Right.
obviously you got to make the money, but um, it's just a different. It's like a free lifestyle. You're not really chained to too much, you know. So.
And what about like since my brother didn't just go to Thailand with his
Mhm.
girlfriend, they also went to India as well. But like for people who think about Thailand, they might think, those areas, it's a poor area, it's dangerous, possibly. For people who've never been there, can you give like some of your real world experiences? Like,
Yeah, so definitely you have like the countryside and you have big cities and you have like some poorer areas and it really does depend on like which country it is. Like I can't say the same about Vietnam because I've been to Vietnam.
hmm
They may be not so great. There might be like maybe not as many good places to live in Vietnam versus Thailand. I'm not sure. I can't. I'm not gonna say anything.
hmm
But for Thailand, yeah, Chiang Mai, it's a respectable city. It kind of reminded me of like Austin, Texas, in a sense.
nice.
Yeah. So in definitely that area, it's like, yeah, my girlfriend's sister also lives there. She's lived there for 2, 3 years, had no issue with crime or anything like that. I mean, obviously you may get singled out because you're a foreigner or something, but I highly doubt it. Most people there are very nice. It's also part of culture to be very friendly and welcoming, you know.
So
So as long as you
definitely.
have your wits about you, it's no worse than
Mhm.
living anywhere else, you know. So I mean, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and having $2 meals. And like I said, my brother doesn't have those pictures up here, but they were like literally on the beach hanging out like every day. It
Yeah,
was
had
really
had
cool.
beautiful pictures at the beach too, and it's just like it was, picturesque,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. And the food
And
was really good too.
yeah, I mean, my brother kept sending pictures of the food they were eating. I was like, oh
Right.
crap, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, so it's definitely I don't know. If you're okay with getting out of your comfort zone, man, I would strongly recommend you look into it. That's what I would say. If you want to work online and maybe if you're not super happy with the area you're living in now, take a look at moving overseas and doing the
and,
digital
and
nomad lifestyle.
who knows? Maybe my brother and his girlfriend, they might be in a different country next time. So
Yeah,
watch out.
maybe next episode, maybe next week, it won't look like this back here. I'll be in a shack.
Oh man.
But yeah, so Thailand was definitely cool, and especially in terms of just lifestyle, the geek lifestyle. It would work. Just be a digital nomad. India was also very interesting. I liked the time I had in India. We went to a friend's wedding and just way different culture. I always don't want to say anything just because you gotta just go there and see it for yourself.
So what part of India did y'all go to?
Delhi, probably like the biggest city in the world. Is Delhi the biggest city in the world? Delhi's huge. So many people. You'd be seeing like hundreds of people out at like 4 a.m. just
Yeah,
walking around the streets. It's like, whoa, what's like 4 a.m.? What are you guys doing outside?
and India has over 1 billion people
Yeah,
in population. It's a lot of people.
there's a lot of people in India. There's a lot of people in India. Yeah, so India was definitely a very interesting experience, very different than the rest of Asia. It was
So
like
how so? Like how was it different?
it's just a huge city. In terms of like the way people act, especially driving was very, very, very different. I saw two stoplights that people actually stopped at in my 1 week of stay. There are no lanes. It's just every time you want to get in somewhere, you just honk. It's just constant. It's like 24/7 honking. Every car is banged up on the street, and if your car is not banged up, that means it's like a brand new car. It hasn't been out there very long. And there was a guy who hit our car with a moped, and he just like walked by and just, like mean mugged us. It's just like didn't even say anything. Like, you hit our car? Okay, whatever. It's normal, you know. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of culture there.
And since there are so many people, did you feel really like, crowded all the time? Cramped?
Yeah, definitely in some areas on the road for sure. Roads are just crazy packed. Yeah, it's a huge city. Like it's hard for me to put into words.
So how many million people in New Delhi? Did you see the population?
Oh, let's see. Um, population 26 million people.
Wow. So just kind of like soak that in. That's one city in India, 26 million people.
The metro area, yeah, the met.
Yeah,
It's
that's
26 million people.
absolutely insane. Because if you think about New York City, that's what, 12 million people? And
Let's
that's
look it up.
probably, yeah, I think that has the most population in the US for a single city. If I'm not
Take that
mistaken.
and just double it. Okay, New York is 20.2 million people in the metro.
Oh, okay.
LA
Oh,
is
that's quite a bit.
LA is 13 mil, Chicago 9 mil, Boston 4.7 mil. Okay. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's gonna feel a lot more dense and packed in the cities. I mean, New York Metro may have some place on the outskirts like Chicago, right? Like Chicago has like the suburbs and whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah. Taj Mahal was super beautiful. Man, that place is great.
So, oh yeah. So was Taj Mahal like everything that you thought it was?
I didn't really go in with any expectations, but it's just kind of like mind blowing how big and how if you get a good tour guide, they'll tell you like all these crazy details about like, oh, if you look here, there's an optical illusion they did on purpose. Oh, if you look at these stones, it's also another optical illusion. Like they put a lot of effort into it. And when you think about how old it is and when they thought about all those things back then, it's crazy. For example, so on the Taj Mahal, there's four pillars on the outside, right? But they're all slightly angled. So in case there's an earthquake or something ever happened, the pillars would fall outwards and not onto the Taj Mahal
Wow.
itself.
Now that's amazing engineering. So
Yeah.
they thought of that. How old is the Taj Mahal? Do you remember?
Uh,
And so engineers thought about this that long ago. I'm pretty sure it's like hundred, more than like maybe what 1,000 years old? Maybe not that
it's
long. That
1631, so about 400 years old.
okay, not 1,000, but yeah, that's still a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, any wonder of the world, it's a wonder of the world for a good reason, right? You look at Egypt and like the crazy pyramids and where they built
That's
that
true.
way back
That's
then.
way back then. That's right.
But yeah, it's definitely it's very eye opening, India in general. So
And there's a lot of temples. And so
yeah,
I've never been to India. I've been to Pakistan, and I went to what's it? I can't remember. Karachi,
Mhm.
and that was like 13 million people, and
Yep.
it was very dense. Traffic was there is no traffic. I mean, there is no lanes. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just suggestions, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
I could
exactly.
understand my brother. It's to me. Just being there, I've never been to India, but like I said, Pakistan, Karachi is the
It's
closest I've
probably
ever
very
had experience.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's obviously very similar.
I actually felt really scared because there was cars and people everywhere. It's like
It's overwhelming,
crazy.
but for them, it's just
Yeah,
a
for them
normal
it's
part of it.
normal.
Yeah,
Three or four people on a moped speeding past you. It's
yeah.
with kids.
But I
So,
should go in there expecting like the the luxury living we have in the U.S. and I would consider parts of the U.S. luxury living because we have so much.
yes.
They don't have that everywhere in India, so sometimes it will get difficult. Like you can't drink water. Everything has to be bottled. Even then, it's still kind of like maybe a little bit sketchy. You can't eat raw vegetables, and you have to be very careful about what you eat. I was
Hmm.
pretty careful, and I still got sick, like
Yeah.
a week's worth of diarrhea, and that hurt. It hurt so bad.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing. So if you do travel internationally, especially if you're going to like second or third world countries, be sure to have like find out what type of diseases or type of
Yeah,
conditions that you
go
have, so
to your
you can
travel
take your
clinic,
shots.
consult your local
Yeah.
doctor. They'll set you up. I mean, it's a pretty standard process, but you get your malaria pills and
Hmm.
hepatitis shots and all those things.
And toilet paper. Toilet paper is very, very important if
Yeah.
you're traveling
Oh
to those
yeah. If
countries.
you yeah, if you do move to Thailand, it's starting to get a little bit more modern. I guess they have toilets, but a lot of places won't have like a
Yes.
toilet. It's a hole in the ground and a bucket of water.
Exactly, because in most countries, the whole idea of a toilet where you sit down, that is not normal.
Yeah.
Most toilets are holes in the ground, and actually, technically, it's healthier for you not to sit on a toilet. Okay, it's better
Yeah.
for the hole in the ground. But
But
anyways, that's what it's like in a lot of countries around
yeah,
the world.
yeah. But
So
Chiang Mai is definitely it's a more modern city, so their toilets, you know. I
mhm,
think everyone had a toilet, so
good.
don't let that hold you back if you're thinking about
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
there.
don't no, yeah,
They
just
have
kind of
toilets.
be prepared and know, especially know the customs and cultures,
Yeah.
because yeah, you need to kind of have a good idea, because something you think that might be okay for you,
Mm.
it might not be in
Right.
those other countries.
Right.
I would say go to Chiang Mai first, where they went. You'd probably have a
Yeah. You have a ball of
j-
a time. It's a great
yeah.
place, yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's where I've been. And hopefully I'll be back on here more often. So you guys will be seeing us or seeing me at least a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe our other brother, Box Cutter, will
You get
be
some
on
free
here as well.
time up as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there anything exciting for you coming up this month? I mean, obviously Star
Um,
Wars is gonna come out.
yes, Star Wars is gonna come out. Well, for movies in general, you know me, I'm not really big into the movies that are coming out, because
Mhm.
like they're kind of the same. And so most of my movie watching is through Netflix, and I use my brother's account. So a lot of my movie watching is there.
Mhm.
And so if you have been watching my channel, I've been doing more and more international film reviews. And so check out my movie playlist. And I'm gonna be starting doing more and more movies out of India. So you probably seeing some of my Indian movie reviews. So maybe in future episodes, if my brothers get some time, because we all love movies, and my brothers watch international films as well. Maybe we could talk about more about international films,
Yeah.
because they're just what my brother talked about. When you're in a different country, there's like so many different things out there. I mean, I know this sounds really cliche, but if you've never really experienced traveling to another country, it's different. But if you can't, then just watching movies from other cultures, it really helps expose you to a different side of the world, and that's I
Yeah.
think to me that's very appealing.
And it
And
may prepare
since
you a little bit, right? Just so
yes,
you
it
get an
will.
idea of like what the country's like, what's important to them, you know?
Yep. I would definitely agree, and especially since we're doing something like this where we have an international audience, it's awesome to me, So I tend to think that a lot of these things, it's not just for entertainment value. You could get other things out of it. And besides that, at least for Geek Outdoors, I've been creating a lot more content. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, I will be probably in future videos. I'll be talking more about other content on other channels of Geek Outdoors. And so I have made a video about this, but I just kind of want to reiterate this. For Geek Outdoors, YouTube is the main place. I have over 700 videos, almost 800, most of which are unpublished. But at the same time, we have another family member, my sister. She actually does a Facebook page. And so we have like pretty much daily posts every single day on Facebook. And then if you're on Snapchat, I try to do like almost weekly content. Sometimes I do daily content. And then also, if you go to my website, I have like almost 200 different blog posts. And more geek content is coming. But the whole point of it all is Geek Outdoors. It's about having a geek lifestyle, okay? And then at the same time, there's lots of geeks all around the world, and lots of people consume and learn and get entertained in many different ways. So that's the kind of message I want to give.
It's all about the
Those are the things
community.
that I'm working on. Yeah, it's all about the
All
community.
about the
It's all about
community.
the entire geek community, and that's something that I think my brothers we absolutely love, you know. And so now we get to share it with people all around the world, and so that's the only points that I had to mention. So
Cool. Yeah, definitely. And so hopefully with things calming down, we can work on it a little bit. At least I can help you with that a little bit more.
yeah, who
It's
knows, my
always tough.
brothers.
Yeah.
So they will definitely have their own channels in the future. So just watch out for that. Don't forget to subscribe to them when that happens.
Maybe. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so just things coming up for this month. We did a retrospective video last year, right? I think at the end of December, we were just talking about like cool stuff
Oh
that happened that
yeah.
year and like what we were
Yes,
excited
we did.
for. Yeah. We should do that again this year.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny if y'all haven't seen it. We have so many videos. We actually do have a a Geek Bros Talk playlist. Me and my brother and my other brother joined in later, but we've been doing this for more than a year now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
So
we're getting better. I think we
yeah,
are.
I don't know. Hopefully,
Yeah.
but it,
But the quality should look like production wise, it's been very consistent, right? Like we didn't get
yes, very consistent.
because sometimes you'll go watch like a old or listen to old podcasts and like when it first starts out, it's like, oh man, it's kind of like
Horrible.
quality is not that good. It's really hard to listen to. Like you love the people and then you try to go back and watch your old stuff and like maybe it doesn't work out super well.
Exactly.
But I think our stuff has been consistent
Yeah,
for
so
the
if you
better
go
half
back
of the
to
year.
our playlist, if you watch the very first channel me and my brother did, I think the very first thing that we talked about was like keyboards or something. That might have been the first video. And yeah, it was.
It hasn't stopped.
So what I enjoyed about it, and if you watch our show, you see like it's just me and my brothers talking.
Yeah.
And so it was like I would say a lot easier for us just to do it because it's just like us talking, except y'all are involved as well. And so we also tried doing some live episodes before. So maybe if my brothers have time, we'll try to do some live episodes as well.
Yes.
So that's all I had though. I didn't really have anything else. I'm just happy to see my brothers are back. They've been around the world literally, and there's been a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about also.
There's always stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to geek
Yeah.
out on, you know. We're always gonna be here. We're not going anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, so you just want to close out like some recommendations or something. Stuff that maybe we haven't talked about, like, oh, you know, check this out. Like I saw Blade Runner 2049. That was really good. I mean,
Really good.
if you like the original Blade Runner, you'll most likely love 2049.
Yep.
In some ways, I think it's better than the original or the movie before it. So
Yeah, I did like 2 Blade Runner. I'm even not gonna put a card up there. I probably put like 4 cards in this video already. But I did do a really in-depth review of Blade Runner 2049, and I absolutely really loved it. I mean, I still like the original better,
Oh,
but
really?
they did an amazing. I just wish it made more money. That's the only
Yeah.
thing. It did not make that much money,
Yeah.
and it's a fantastic movie. You know,
Man.
I enjoyed it.
Director Dennis Dennis.
Villeneuve.
Yeah, what was he doing next? Dune, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I just love.
I
80s
love the
sci-fi.
original Dune, 1984. I don't care what people say. I didn't like the miniseries. I know it's close to the book, but I absolutely love Dune. That was awesome.
Yeah, so I'm glad they've got this guy. Someone's bringing back the 80s sci-fi, and I love it.
Yeah, and you know, if you're gonna do remakes or sequels of legendary, I don't know if it's possible, but if you could get somebody like Villeneuve and because
George
they did it
Miller.
right. Yeah, they did it right. That's like I was really scared. Like this is gonna be horrible,
Oh, no,
but
that was good.
it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was
Fantastic.
Yeah, speaking of George Miller, I saw some of the legal issues been happening. Like I think WB not paying him what they owe him.
What?
Yeah. So there's like, it's lessening the possibility for a Furiosa movie or like another Mad Max movie. So hopefully all that stuff gets sorted out. But they're having troubles.
No way.
I'm paying him, yeah, because I think there's probably some percentage royalty where like, dude, this movie made money, and it's like, where's my cut at? And you know, sometimes movie studios can get greedy like that.
Yeah, no, they're not greedy. They just want all your money.
Yeah. So, yeah, Blade Runner 2049 was super good. I watched Alien Covenant, and man,
Oh, I didn't watch it.
so Ridley Scott does an amazing job at visuals, but story, man, just get someone else to write it.
So it wasn't like we talked about. We were kind of concerned about that movie, so it wasn't good for you then.
I just love the franchise so much. It pains me to say because I want it to be so good. I
Yep.
think Covenant is a little bit better actually, and not a lot of people like. Well, Covenant wasn't super well received either, but you should watch the director's cut. It gets a little bit
Oh,
better.
you mean Prometheus?
Yeah, sorry, not Covenant.
Yeah.
Prometheus. Yes, Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the director's cut. It's better than what they released in theaters. But man, it's just like after Covenant.
You don't know
Stop.
if you can go back.
Make a
Yeah.
good one. Just like yeah, like. Anyways,
Well,
so
speaking of which, James Cameron is going to be making another Terminator, and then Lando Hamilton will be coming back.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll see, because Ridley Scott is a legendary director, no doubt about it. But
hit or miss.
yeah, it's a
miss.
hit or miss. Yeah, it's
miss.
not consistent.
Yeah.
He can't do it all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I was reading something. They're saying like Blade Runner and Alien Universe might be the same universe just because of the
Yep.
um
Like
what
the
do we call it?
Wayland Corporation, that's a spacecraft they were on in
Right.
Alien One.
Right.
So
Not just that, but the synthetics and the androids, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like, oh yeah, it might take place
The
here.
replicants.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, that's
Yeah, then another fun fact, since we mentioned James Cameron, I heard Titanic was a movie that was just more of him wanting to explore the actual Titanic, because he was super into like ships or deep sea diving or something.
that's
And
a
then
commercial for him to get the investment.
yeah, exactly. He just needed a
Yep.
reason for people to give him money so he can just go down there and look.
Yeah.
It ended up making one of the best movies, one of the best highest grossing movies of all time. So it worked out.
And guess what he got out of it? He actually did get to explore the Titanic in
Yeah.
deep seas.
Yeah, multiple times over. It's like, hey guys,
Yeah.
we really need this shot. Okay, we'll give you the money to go down there. I think they said like he spent more time, or like the film crew has spent more time on it in the Titanic than the actual people on board the Titanic.
I
Since it
believe
was
that.
since it was just like a short-lived, experience. But yeah. What else did I watch? Baby Driver. I don't know if we've talked about Baby Driver. Is super good.
I think we did. Me, you, and Box Cutter.
Yeah.
You said it was really good.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't remember what we talked about last, but I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think of stuff this year that like I really enjoyed. Baby Driver was really good. One Punch Man is really good. I know it's a little bit old. I just now watched it. That's super good. Castlevania on Netflix, the
I
animated
enjoyed Castlevania.
is
That was
very
good.
good as well. Get Out was pretty good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I'm glad to see Jordan Peele see success for such like a low budget movie as well.
That's so weird. I never would have
Yeah.
thought Jordan Peele would be the one to direct that
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of movie.
yeah.
That makes no sense.
It was good though. It was good. It was definitely pretty refreshing. Um, yeah, I mean, I'll be watching Star Wars because my company is gonna treat us. So okay, cool. I'll watch it. Hopefully it's good. It looks pretty. Hopefully it's better than Force
Yeah.
Awakens. I
Because
did enjoy Rogue One.
Yeah, because the last me and my brother actually did a review
Yeah.
of Rogue One, and it was good. I mean, it was a good movie.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
was good.
I mean, you kind of look forward to a Star Wars movie every year, but because it's not like as rare, it's like it's not. I don't know. I'm not as hyped up. It just happens to be another Star Wars movie, and
The Disney syndrome, right?
yeah,
Um,
that's another one.
Yeah, but it's more about once a year than 3 or 4 times later throughout the year. What they're doing
Yeah.
with the Marvel stuff, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
they haven't
watch
made
it.
bad stuff. I mean, I'll watch it,
yeah,
but it's
Like,
not like
Force
I'm gonna
Awakens
wait in
wasn't,
line.
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Force Awakens, but that's fine because it's kind of their first one out the gate, right? So
Mhm.
a little misstep, but I think Rogue One was pretty good.
Yep.
Hopefully they have more time to have worked on the Last Jedi. So
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, anything else coming out this month? I heard Lady Bird was really good. It's like an independent. I don't know if you've seen that, but
Yeah, I've seen the trailers for it.
yeah,
I don't know.
It was filmed in. It was about someone from Sacramento, which is where I live previously.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. From Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like. I don't know. Like most of the stuff, it's gonna be on Netflix or something. You know, for me, you
Yeah.
know, I still haven't seen The Punisher season
Mm.
1. I
Have
heard
you,
that
have
was
you watched
really
Stranger
good.
Things?
Yeah, I did a long review on that. Have you seen it? Season
Yeah,
2?
yeah, I've seen season 2. Yeah,
What did you think?
I did, it's been a while since I've seen season 1, but I didn't enjoy it as much as season 1. I felt like the first half of the season just dragged on. I felt like some of the character motivations were kind of dumb. I mean, I know they're kids, but some of it is so like really. Yeah, but I felt like the last 4 episodes picked up really well. So I enjoyed that half, but the first half not so much.
Yeah, I thought the opposite. I
Oh
really
really?
enjoyed season 2. I season 1 to me is better.
Hmm.
For me, the first half I enjoyed more.
Oh really?
Yeah, but like you said, some of the character motivations, like why would you have that creature around? You're stupid.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Exactly.
that stuff. That I know why he did it too, but anyways, it didn't go too well
Yeah,
with
I
it.
mean, it's like I wouldn't be so against that if that was like if that happened in season 1. But the fact that they went through all the stuff that happened in season
Exactly.
1, and you're like, you're really gonna do that after season 1? Like
Yes.
that
Yeah,
that
that
kind of
was
took me
just
out of it.
stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but and then also like when it got to like episode 6 through 9, I just especially episode 7 where they went to like Chicago, that was stupid.
Yeah,
Apps and everybody's already talked about it. And then also
I
by the
I think they had more planned for the arc because they started with her sister in the very first episode, right? It was like the opening.
yes, the very opening shot. Yeah,
I felt like maybe it just didn't come together, so they just like kind of moved it around and
yeah. I
scrapped
think
it
it was
over and
kind
over.
of like an
Yeah,
intro, so that later on in future seasons when you see them or there might be a spinoff, you would already been introduced to the character.
yeah,
But I think it could have been done better because it felt
yeah.
like a completely different show that episode. I'm like, what is going on?
It was a
And
really weird side story, and
yeah, it was.
yeah,
And it didn't seem like it fit. If they would have just left her in the first episode and then like kind of alluded to or like a few scenes with
maybe in
her,
like the very
that would
last
have
scene
worked.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. But
yeah,
the whole episode, that was just weird.
yeah, yeah,
And then after that, it was cliche to me. You know, I really was sad that Samwise Gamgee, who was also
yeah.
in the original Goonies, died.
Mm.
You know, and then the ending, you know, it's just. I wanted to see more of the upside down world, and I think we will see that in future episodes. And
Yeah,
you're gonna have all these powerful psychic characters go fight this battle on the upside down world. So I'm excited for the next few seasons.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely like the first season because of the charm. It's just like a bunch of
Yes.
kids. It's very like down. Oh, not down. I mean, it is, but it isn't, right? I mean, it's down to earth in the fact that, like, oh, it's just kids exploring. It kind of reminds you of like, you know, your childhood a little bit. As
Hmm.
the further seasons go on, I think it's gonna start to lose that appeal because now it's like this war
You know.
against, yeah, against this war.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like too surprising, right? Now
Hmm.
it's more of like a battle for humanity rather than just like a battle for your like personal battle, right? For your friends
Yeah.
or your kid or
It'd
whatever.
be a cliche thing. We got to save the world and
Yeah,
save this. You know, like that's what's gonna happen. It's
yeah,
gonna be X-Men.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like First Class, right? First Class,
Yeah.
and like the movies afterwards, which is why I was so surprised at Logan. They kind of brought it back to like that very human, like down to earth. Like
Oh man.
this is not about the world around us. It's about us, like very personal, which is what I loved about it.
Logan was one of the best movies that I've seen these past few years. It was
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
definitely. Logan
So
was super good. But yeah, I think I enjoyed the second half a little bit more just because it started getting more into like the 80s monster or like the 80s thriller slasher kind of feel, like
hmm
you have like these monsters just like walking around. I don't know. It's very like tense for me, which is I
hmm
like The Thing, right?
yeah,
Or other movies that they would have drawn inspiration from like that.
yeah, and yeah, they drew a lot. I mean, I love the Ghostbusters elements. You know, they did
Mhm.
draw a lot more. But like what you're saying, like by the second season, you kind of knew what to
Yeah.
expect. Whereas the first season, you're learning new stuff. You're
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
anticipating
yeah.
what's going on, who's these characters, who's this creature, what's this upside down world. There was so many like what ifs,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what's
yeah.
going
But second
on.
season, it gets a little bit more predictable. I mean, but
Exactly.
there's only, I think, so much you can do with it while maintaining the original storyline, right? I mean, like, to keep it, like, keep you guessing like that.
Or just to keep it interesting, because you've watched many shows like Breaking Bad or
mhm.
Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. There's multiple years. Not all of it's great, but the majority of it's going to be very
Yeah, yeah,
difficult
yeah.
for them to
Yeah.
keep that type of
And I feel
pace.
like,
You
okay,
know.
so maybe this is where it maybe tripped up a little bit too. Is like those
Hmm.
TV shows, it focuses a lot on the characters and
Hmm.
their the relationships between each other. But this one, a little bit on the characters, but more so on what's happening around them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like the kids didn't really change that much. What's her? Man, I'm so bad at remembering character names in
What
movies.
Winona Ryder, character
Not Winona Ryder.
11.
No, Sam's Sam.
Oh,
Uh,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, the
the relationship
character
between
Mikey and
Steve, Steve's girlfriend, Steve's previous
oh,
girlfriend,
okay.
and what's his face? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. I know who you're talking about
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. But that was kind of weird. Um, I don't know. It didn't really focus on like the characters or their development or their motivation. It's just like, oh, this happened. Now we gotta go do this. Now we gotta go do this. Now we gotta go do this. Right. So maybe if they get a little bit more into, I mean, I guess they developed 11 a little bit better. She's probably like
Yes,
the
they did.
most. She was probably the most fleshed out of the characters,
Yep.
and and a little bit for Hopper, which is the guy taking care of her, right? So
Hmm.
if they did it more, but then I understand that like, you're sacrificing screen time to develop the characters. I mean, I guess you can do it in such a way where it does both, but
Hmm.
I think it's harder with the approach that they're going to because like they need to explain the monsters and like what they're doing. It's more of like a minute by minute thing.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for them. You know,
Yeah,
I guess that's the challenge of having such a well-received show.
to live up to it. Yeah,
Yeah, to live up
yeah,
to it and then to keep it going. You know,
Mhm.
that's very, very challenging. You
Yeah.
know, so we'll see what happens next few seasons. My prediction is they will spend more time in the upside down world, which I would really enjoy. I want to know
Mhm.
more about that. And then also, I think what you pointed to, more character development, because now you
Mhm.
know the characters, you're introduced to them. Now let's dive deeper.
Right.
You know.
And I think with a lot of good TV, it's not necessarily the threat that is
Hmm.
like the real thing. It's like that the people are the worst, right? In it.
Yes, you're right.
That's the interesting part about me. Like Walking Dead, it's not about the zombies. It's about the people. Even Breaking Bad, it's not about the drugs or the problem. It's about the characters,
Yep.
right? And so I think that's even Game of Thrones, right? It's also that way.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, because people connect with the characters. They know them
right,
by
right.
name. You know, it's they're emotionally invested in them.
Yeah,
You know,
yep, yep.
so
I think
I
it's a lot
agree.
more alluring than like the world building itself. Yeah,
Yeah, because like kind of like similar to video games, you talk about the whole world building around it. It's eh,
yeah.
it's
Sometimes like if it's done really well, it's done really well. But you can
yeah,
only do it for so long before it gets shallow, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Because then you go back to the characters and the story
right.
and the gameplay. That's what you care
Yeah,
about. Same thing with movies.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
at
for
the
sure.
yeah. All
Like
right.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's like yeah, it's just like 1990s New Mexico. It's a backdrop. Exactly what it is because you're way more focused on the characters, and
Yeah, it's just set up for the characters and the
right,
story.
right, right, right.
And unfortunately, I haven't seen these shows that my brothers talk about. They've both seen them, so I haven't seen them. So I'm gonna have to binge watch, spend a month or something.
Definitely check it out. But yeah, so those are our recommendations. Everything we talked about, Blade Runner. I don't know. Just go out there. Just watch whatever you like. Have some
We
fun.
probably walked. We probably talked about 20 different movies and 20 video games in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
It's a lot of good
yeah.
stuff.
We have a lot to catch up on, I think. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. With that being said, I think we're running into a couple hours here, so we'll probably just wrap this up. Great being back. Great episode. Miss talking about all these things. So
Yeah, I'm like super happy that my brother's back,
yeah,
and hopefully a box cutter will be able to join us on the next episode.
yeah, for sure. We'll always have something to talk about. So never a dull moment. Anyways, so we're gonna leave you guys here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, let us know what you think about us. Like,
What you think about these cool
comment,
glasses?
subscribe. You know. Um, yeah, sorry, I got a little bit too intimate there. Anyways, thanks guys for checking us out. Yeah, let us know what you think. What are you even playing? We can definitely discuss that in the next show. What have you been playing? What have you been watching? What have you been geeking out on? Because it's about the community. It's not just about us. It's about you too. Thanks for watching.
All right, we'll see you in another episode.
We'll see you in another episode.